one, number three. Grass River 3Rs. Grass River Railroad. Why they didn't do G?
this. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to rumble?
Okay. Okay, howdy. There should be a picture in just a minute. There it goes. Well, I got a couple of them over here in the chat. We got Billy, Dave, Mark from Down Under, and Hastings. We got Lloyd and Jason and Tim over here. Get that off the screen. Y'all can see I'm still having computer problems. Just to get a camera to work tonight, it's been a fiasco. I had to use my one of my camcorders. Run it through a capture dongle, turn it into a webcam. Thought I was charging the battery today, and then when I put it on the camera, it showed it wasn't charged. So then I had to go get the power brick and plug it into the camera. Oh, man. So I hope everybody's hearing me okay out there. Somebody in the chat let me know if y'all can hear us talking. Make sure I got the doggone thing working. Alright, Billy said loud and clear. Yep, Mark. Alright, if they can hear me in Australia, everybody else should be able to hear me then. So, you're telling me what you've been up to lately, Jason? I'll let you, if you don't mind, repeat it again.
Well, I went on vacation last week. I was at the Sangamon County Fair in Illinois, in New Berlin. And I was running model trains for 6 days, from like 11 to 9 o'clock at night. And doing maintenance work on a lot of the locomotives and all that when they needed it. And then some of my locomotives needed maintenance too.
Of course they did.
Had a couple derailments that I didn't get over to the engine fast enough, and I didn't turn the power off on the locomotive, and I kicked the drive shafts.
You did what?
I kicked the drive shaft out. And one engine I did it twice in 5 days. So the second time I didn't put it back in yet. It's sitting in my toolbox waiting when I get the gumption to do it. And it was fairly cold in the building that I was at, so I got a head cold now. But it happens. I had fun. I get the enjoyment of watching the kids' faces when the trains are going by. So puts a smile on their face, so it's good.
Alrighty, now why is this thing feeding back?
That's what it's all about as the kids.
Yeah.
You're doing shows like that.
Yes, it is. Okay.
All right. Now, you saw my latest build, did you, Jason?
No. What was it?
The Thomas the Tank engine.
Oh, was that like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it.
Put the ESU V5 in it.
Yeah. I still need to get my JMRI hooked up so I can start programming.
Let me know when you do so you can explain it to me.
My Sprague 3. Yeah, I know.
I can't seem to get my JMRI to read the decoders on my locomotives.
What DCC system are you using, Lloyd?
NCE. Because I want to be able to slow down the speed, lock it in, and do the same thing to all my other locomotives so that they're all the same speed. Whatever locomotives you match, they're all going to be the same speed.
Yeah. So you're going to speed match all your locomotives?
Yep.
What decoders is everything running? Or are you running just varying decoders?
I have no idea. I'm gonna have to check every box and see what was installed in them.
What are you using to communicate between JMRI and your NCE system?
Okay, make the question a little bit easier for me.
What are you using to connect your computer to the track?
A cable?
No, you got to have an interface, Lord. Some kind
Oh
of.
yeah. I've got an interface, the NCE interface that I had to buy separately.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the computer seeing the interface?
Yeah, the computer, like the two green connection lines are lit. It's just that it does not recognize like the type of decoder that's in the locomotive. So it's like I'm gonna have to force it in. Which I shouldn't have.
Could be you don't have enough power on the programming track because some of those decoders require a lot of power.
Well, I did it. No, I did it on my layout. Like I removed all the locomotives from the tracks, and I just had one.
Oh, so
And it
you
wasn't reading
programmed
it.
on the main.
Hmm?
You're programming on the main.
Yeah, I was trying it, and I had somebody here that was trying and couldn't get it to work.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've put that aside for now.
Chris Healy's probably the one you need to get with on that because he does NC also. He's pretty up on that. You know, MRL.
Yeah, it's just that I need good explanation, easy explanation.
Well, get 101 with him. He'll walk you through it.
Are you able to read back any kind of CVs or anything like that, or change any CVs at all through your
We
computer?
managed to do one, and after like 5 hours, the guy was here for 5 hours, and we did manage to get one locomotive to be programmed, but it wasn't programmed properly. I don't know. There was something that wasn't connecting right. Anyway, for now, I'm just going to use. I'm just going to finish programming all my industries, cars, length of track. That's what I got to work on now.
Mark Stafford is saying that you can't do that on the main. You probably have to do that on a programming track.
He said he didn't think he could, but
Yeah, well, later on he says you have to be on a programming track.
yeah.
Does NCE allow for 2 different tracks, a programming and a main?
Yep. I have a choice between the main and the programming track.
Yeah.
You may have to try doing it on a programming track and see what you can get.
But some of those decoders require higher power on the programming track. What is it? ESU decoders? They have to have a lot higher power because they've got their own coder. You know,
Broadway Limited was that way. I think on some of their decoders that they were putting in, they required a little bit more power. ESU, I've not run any issues with that, but I'm running DCC++, so I'm
yeah,
you know,
a little different animal there.
yeah.
But ESU's one's got their own decoder, right? That you can program decoders with, put your own sounds and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know people have ran into problems with those because they need to have more power on their programming tracks.
You got the Lock Programmer, which is a standalone programming system that supplies power and the signal to the track.
Yeah, Mark was saying that on the old ones you need more power, but the new ones are better.
Well, my decoders can't be that old because I only started this hobby 4 years ago.
yeah, but in 4 years' time, there's been a lot of changes too.
That depends on how long they sat on the hobby shop shelf before you purchased them.
Yeah. Or the warehouse.
Yeah.
Well, I know some of them are Bowser, Atlas. It's about, yeah.
Yeah, so those probably sat in the warehouse for a while, so they may be 6 or 7 year old decoders. But yeah, with JMRI, you should be able to read the decoder type and manufacturer back out of it. But you might try it on the programming track and see what you get.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna try that. I just have to install my. I bought this piece of equipment for the programming track. Thing is, I don't remember what it's called.
Was it a wheel cleaner or something like that, or?
No. It's a board. Hold on, I'm looking for it.
Well, while you're doing that, Stu, you're looking at Tim's workbench there. Stu said, I feel good about my workbench looking at the cluttered one on the panel pictures.
Clutter just means I've been busy. Between work and getting that decoder installed in that Thomas and the little trolley that I installed one in. Running in Springfield, Missouri this weekend and back. Yeah. And then Sunday I go over to St. Louis.
Yeah, what you going to St. Louis for?
I go pick kids up. Father-in-law's meeting me there. And he's got them down in Springfield, and he's meeting me in St. Louis to drop them back off to me. So that'll be a riot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's only about, what, 3 hours for you?
Yeah. But then I get to drive back alone with 3 kids. Or 4 kids in the van.
Yeah, Andy was saying everybody's talking about the workbenches, and Andy said all we ever have is about a 12 by 12, regardless of the size bench we have.
Yeah. I don't even think I have that right now.
Yeah, I'd say you got maybe 3 by 5. Well, let's see if I can get this to work. Alrighty. So far,
Okay,
so
sounds
good. I got about a 2.5 minute video. I'm going to screen share.
Okay, I found what it was for.
Hopefully everybody will be able to hear the sound on it. Andy posted this over on Facebook. It's name of it is the one lane bridge shared by cars and trains.
Oh, yeah.
Get up here and start this thing.
In New Zealand, one-lane bridges are a common enough thing that tourists are warned about them. The rules are simple. Approach with care, go slowly, and if there's someone coming the other way, then sometimes there are signs that'll tell you who has priority. There is an exception to that rule in just a couple of places though, which is that regardless of what those signs say, always let the train go first.
The Dunedin Railway started operating in the 1990s, and we run a tourist train business. We cart about 80 to 90,000 passengers a year. The route is 154 kilometres return from Dunedin and follows a river gorge up through the Taieri River up onto the Strath-Taieri Plain. The scenery is spectacular, how they built it. Where they started in 1879, it was completed in 1891, all by hand. It is a challenging route, it's really up and down.
Just to be clear, this isn't a tram or a trolleybus or light rail, this is an actual train running on the street here because that was a better option than trying to build a second bridge on a very quiet road. Technically, I guess this is just a very strangely shaped level crossing, and there are a few other bridges like this around the world, but almost all of them have lights and sirens and barriers to keep cars separated when there's a train approaching. Here, you just take care and listen out for the train horn.
When the road bridge further up the river failed, they made the rail bridge a road bridge. There used to be a lot more in the country. It was a cheap option. Why build 2 bridges when you can build 1? They were mainly built in less populated areas because Trains and cars don't usually combine very well, so you wouldn't build them in the cities. But the cars just have to follow the road rules. There's stop signs at either end of the bridge, and you don't do light speed going up onto a road rail bridge. You're doing 10 kilometres an hour, blowing the whistle and all that sort of thing. Hindon Road Rail Bridge is really there only to give access to 2 sheep stations, so there's not that much traffic on it. Rare that you come across a car anyway. The train's going at a speed that it can stop pretty easily, and usually the cars have to back up. We've never had a problem on a road rail bridge. Level crossings are worse.
Well, hopefully everybody heard the sound on that.
Kind of low on my side, but I still heard it.
Kill this so I don't have it coming back accidentally. Yeah, I mean, that was something different you don't see. I figured I'd pop it up here tonight. All trouble I've been having, I wasn't sure if the sound would work or not on this thing. I got most of the parts in yesterday, built a whole new computer, which I'm going to dedicate just to streaming.
Oh, Johnny.
Hey.
The piece that I was talking to you about is called NCE Auto SW Program Track Auto Switch. It's an auto switch for my programmable track, so I don't have to switch it when I'm in GMRI.
Ah, okay.
So I just need to install it.
Yeah. See, guys in the chat are talking about Vinny must have been in the hospital. Let's see.
Yeah, he was in the hospital the other day, pouring a post from him.
Yeah, he's there for 7 days. They say what happened?
I don't remember.
Yeah, Steve's trying to get me tongue-tied. There is one spot on the B&O Railroad east of Grafton where the railroad bridge goes over a car traffic bridge that goes over a creek. Dave said he's having trouble breathing.
I'm glad to see he's home.
Yeah. Yep, doing better. So you got the walls and roof up on the shed there, Sparky? Sparky said Vinny had a hard time breathing. Throat was closing up. After 7 days, doctor said just rest. He is getting better. Wasn't too long ago I saw Vinny doing a short cooking show. Maybe that's what was giving him problems with his throat, as much hot sauce and everything he was throwing in that pan, making his throat close up. Sparky said walls and roof will be done in a month. Fingers crossed. Well, yeah. You only got a week left in this month. You better hurry up. I think he's doing some kind of taco dish or something. He's making the filling. I don't know, Dave. Maybe New Yorkers shouldn't be trying to cook Mexican food. What do you think? That'll probably get Vinny going. Yeah. What kind of building set you got right there on the workbench, Lloyd?
Oh, you didn't check my Facebook page, huh?
No.
You know that city station, train station?
Oh, City Classics building.
No, the train station. It's called City Station from Walters.
Oh, I thought it was City Classics building.
No, anyway, I had it done about 3 years ago, and I tried to pick it up about 2 weeks ago and kind of fell apart. So what I did is I'm redoing it, but from scratch.
Yeah.
That's one side. Oh. That's the other side. I don't know if you recognize it.
No, but I hadn't looked at Walther's catalog in quite a while.
Okay, so hold on. I'm just going to share a picture then.
So it looks like what you're doing is reinforcing it too a little better while you're rebuilding.
Well, this was a plastic kit. Oh, come on. Okay, so that was the kit. So I'm redoing it completely, but in wood.
Oh, okay.
So what I did is I took the pieces, I took everything apart, every single piece, broke a few, and of
Yeah.
course I measured everything, and so I'm redoing it from not scratch, but this is the roof that goes on top, and I've got a side building here. Side building that goes here.
All right.
And yeah, so a lot of work to do.
So you're using the wood that's got the embossed brickwork on it?
No, I've cut a bunch of basswood to make like 2x8s, and then glued all that on a piece of cardboard. Here we go. See,
Okay.
I just kept the windows and the doors. So what I would do is, like for example, this piece here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this piece would be that one here.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, I redid all the pieces one by one, put them together. So between that, putting up my LED lights in the balance, doing a bit of wiring, been keeping myself busy.
Oh, yeah. Billy's asking what the topic is. Everybody said whatever he feels like. Which is pretty much right, Billy. We talk about any and everything as far as trains go. Oh, Don Rogers said he's in the hospital. I hope everything's all right. Dave BNSF said, that sounds like a cool idea. Build in pattern. Yeah, I think you're kind of new to this, Billy. I always refer to this show as the slightly controlled chaos show. And we can talk about almost any topic here. As far as this trains. Of course, we get off topic. We get off topic some too. But
Sometimes.
yeah.
Generally, somebody's there to pull us back in, though.
Yeah. Yeah. He's saying just like his school life. Chaotic but controlled. Yeah, I got back over John's first time, and I don't know, pretty close to 2 months now. Yeah, Michael. He's saying my show is unsignaled territory. It's the dark territory. So don't try and adjust the vertical or horizontal on the monitor. Yeah, I'm having a switch. We put all, his layout was designed with all number 6s, but I got around to the yard and I was having a problem with them. So I switched and made him up a bunch of number 5s. Not enough to do the yard with, but enough of them that we got the yard lead and kind of getting into the yard. I laid them out today. They all worked out. Laid out a whole lot better. So right now I'm just put the bridge in at the window. See how I want to try and do that. That's a lift out there. But I think we'll start running some wiring here pretty soon. Temporary wiring, just see if we can get something running on the main line. Yeah, Dwight, I am building all John's turnouts. I built more than what he needed for his main line, so I told him today I'm just going to swap him, start swapping out the 6s for the 5s. Then after that, whatever I need to build, he'll be back to paying me again, cold hard cash.
Hey, Lloyd, on your DCC, on your NCE system, are you using just the power cab, or you got an actual base station?
I've got a base station. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not wireless, though, is it?
Yep.
Oh, it is wireless? Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it is wireless.
Yeah, but his JMRI is going to hook directly to his data bus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just looking through the manual for that USB interface for them, and they have a known problem with power cabs. When reading non-existent indexed CVs or QSI decoders, that's their power cab, though.
Well, since I'm not an electronic geek, at one point I'll get somebody to come over and get me started at least.
Yeah, there he is. Got home early tonight, huh?
Yeah, earlier than most nights lately, seems like.
Well, what kind of tips, Billy, do you want on hand laying turnouts besides
Don't do it.
my usual smart aleck remarks? Are you using fast tracks? That's what I do. I'm using the fast track jigs and all.
Yeah, are you building or are you head building or head laying? Because there's a bit of a difference. I typically refer to the idea of head laying as the traditional way of head laying track, or head laying in place. So that's kind of the trick. If you're, yeah, I see that, fast tracks. So I like the word head build better than head lay because it's a bit different for that use. So head laying, if you're doing it the traditional way, your head laying in place, there's a lot of different criteria for that. Head building, or building into fixtures or something like that. But watch all the fast tracks videos. That's more the stuff Tim Morris has done in video instruction is is spectacular. That's what's made his product so popular, I think, is how good of instruction he's provided.
Yeah,
Oh, you
but I mean, if you do everything like Tim says, you're gonna have some wasted track too. I mean, I just doing it just like he said. I watched all the videos, and you really do need to watch those videos before you start. But once I got started into it, I actually took and laid a quick stick. I put quick sticks on mine, laid it up on the fixture to see just exactly where the rail was running off each end, and I gave it just enough to put a joiner on the end of the rails. That's saving me a couple of inches of track rail on each turnout. I got everything measured out now, so I sat down, got by my rail in 3-foot sections, and I just cut it. Like the number 6 is the stock rails, I think, are right at 12 inches, but my number 5s are 10 3/4. The frog rails on number 5 are 4-inch long, and the switch rails are 6 9/16, something like that. Huh?
John, he just corrected himself on it. He said, "Sorry, flex tracks."
Yeah.
So, are you taking like Atlas flex track and taking the rails out of it, Billy, or are you actually using fast tracks?
Yeah, he's going to use the rails. It looks like he's going to pull the rail out of the Atlas, out of the flex track. Flex track replaces fast tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no problem if you're using microengineering flex, which I do. I buy microengineering flex track. I prefer it, but the fast tracks fixtures are designed and built for the dimensions of microengineering rail sizes. And while some others may work, you may end up with some different considerations for being in gauge or getting the right flangeways if you were using rail profiles or rail from Atlas or Pico or somebody else, because the rail profiles are different.
Well, no, the only thing that's really going to make a difference, Andy, is the base of the rail, the width of it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's going to make the difference, and because everything else is going to be the same.
Well, if he's doing that, are you using a jig, or are you going to actually hand solder them out on like a board on paper? Because that changes how you do them.
Yeah.
I mean, the jig's going to be your best bet. Hand solder.
Well, you're hand soldering on the jig too, but
yeah, you got it locked in a jig though. That way, what he's talking about is actually building them on the layout as he goes, probably.
And I like building in place real well. There's a lot of benefit to building in place. There's also, there's benefits to building it. If space is no consideration, if you have enough space that you can use your turnout in whatever configuration, then building your turnouts to a standard at a workbench the way Fast Tracks fixtures let you do, that's great. That works spectacular. Probably you could produce, I've said before, you produce the single best mechanical turnout with Fast Tracks fixture that's possible to build. But if you're looking for the flow and a bunch of turnouts hooking together into a certain flow, then you just about have to build them, either build them on the layout, or in my case is build them to templates that are different. So there's a piece of software I use to build the curved turnouts. The piece of software generates a piece of paper with a printable piece of paper that is like the track dimensions and track like a track turnout detail. So you could print that out, stick those together, and on a workbench build the turnout. You can't use fixtures to do that though, because they'll all be different.
The main thing is get you some track gauges. That way you can keep keep everything proper alignment if you're going to do it that way.
Yeah, the little roller gauges are really awesome. If you get the little brass, I've got some. I don't know where they are right now. Little brass roller gauges. Those are pretty. And there's a bunch of tricks to using 3-point gauges.
Micromark's got that little soldering gauge. It's got the cutouts in the middle of it.
Yeah,
sides.
Those are definitely fine on straight track, or if you're soldering flex track in the way that most people recommend. I recommend if you're soldering flex on a curve, bend your flex track around the curve halfway or so. Leave the last half of that curve free, hanging flex track. Stick the other piece of flex track on it and make the joint completely straight. Solder your rails, then continue to bend it around the curve. So they should be soldered in a straight configuration.
Yeah, and that soldering block is really, like Andy said, more for straight because it's too wide to be going around a tight curve.
Yeah, you'd have to have the roller gauges or like Andy said, a 3-point.
Yeah, I just use the 3-point gauges. Bought them over at the hobby shop.
You just have to use 3-point gauges a certain way on a curve. You have to use them with the 2 points on the outside radius of the rail. Otherwise, you push the gauge too wide in the curve. I think it pushes them too wide. Too wide or too narrow. It messes with the gauge.
It push it too wide.
I thought it did. A little bit too wide is probably okay, especially for most people using RP25 or even semi-scale wheel sets. For those of us using scale wheel sets, but even semi-scale wheel sets, you got to be pretty particular about gauge.
Well, Dwight, you can do it that way. It really doesn't matter. I mean, I cut mine straight at the turnouts because you're not going to have that big a gap in there. But every place else on the layout, I stagger my joints on the straight and the curves.
I even stagger them at turnouts. I don't think that's totally necessary. If you make good, the key is if you make good rail joints, if you make them, if you're particular about them. Also, I take a little file and just kiss the railhead on where the two railheads meet on the inside, on the flangeway side. I just kiss a little bit so that there's not any sharp point. Make a little dimple on each side of the rail at the sharp point. Put them together and then clean them up, file them, everything, and then hold them to where they're smooth. So my track joints are doggone smooth, especially if anywhere. But I always offset rail joints in staging where I've used fast track turnouts. I did cut them back about 1.5 inches or so. So the rail joints are offset by about 1.5 inches. Out on the main blade, are 1.5 foot apart. I mean, I offset the rails completely. So.
Yeah, I can tell you there's a difference in rail profiles between the different manufacturers because I'm using Micro Engineering Code 100 to make the turnouts, and we're using Atlas Flex Track to lay the track. When I put the track to the turnout, I have to file the I forgot which one it is. I think it's the Micro Engineering. I have to file it a little bit because it's a little wider than the Atlas, just so that it doesn't pick at the wheel flange when it goes across.
And back on Sparky's comment, Micro Engineering makes that yard track system now. They have like an A, B, C,
D, E, 5 parts. Yeah, the number 5 system. That's really smart. It's a really smart system they built. They're good turnouts. In my opinion, they're the best commercial turnouts you could buy. Only problem with Micro Engineering turnouts is short of that yard system. They're like Ford cars were originally, like Ford Model T. You can have it any color you want as long as that color is black. You can have a Micro Engineering turnout at any dimension and size and curvature you want, as long as that's a number 6 straight, because that's it. But there have been some, Mike Confalone, for example, from the Allegheny Railway fame, has devised a mechanism to flex those turnouts. So he cuts and modifies them so you can make a Micro Engineering curve sub. You're not going to get a 26 inside radius, 30 outside radius type of curve turnout configuration. And the vast majority of turnouts on my visible layout are curved. They're 37 going to be on the current 2-level situation, and I think 33 or 4 of them are curved. Because if you do a small layout, curve turnouts are, man, they give you a lot of railroad. If you've got a small layout, curve turnouts give you a lot more railroad for your money.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with that brand of flex track that Billy's using.
Oh, Fleischmann. Yeah.
But he's in scale.
Yeah, Fleischmann's, I think German or something, but I've used some Fleischmann stuff back when I did some in-scale years ago, and about the only thing that was any good in in-scale was the German stuff. I had a Trix locomotive. It was an American prototype, but I had a Trix locomotive. Still got it somewhere. And I've used some Fleischmann Flex. It was pretty good back then. Yeah. Microengineering makes good in-scale stuff, too.
Yeah, Billy's down there in Australia.
Yeah, they have more availability of that. Roco, Fleischmann, that European product line. Some of that's really, really good. Well, they got a range just like we do. They've got, a range of good products and a range of less than great stuff.
And you're gonna be hand building turnouts in N-scale?
I would totally do fast tracks. If I was in-scale, I'd totally do fast track turnouts without a question. Yeah. I wouldn't do all the detail parts and stuff that I do at HO scale. That's probably unnecessary.
Yeah, I was going to say fast tracks. I'd build in-scale turnouts with the fast tracks, but wouldn't do it any other way. If I was to build any, but
you're looking at some tight spots inside to be trying to solder on your layout.
Yeah, but if you use solder paste, especially if you use solder paste with a hot air tool, and you can buy just a standalone hot air soldering tool for about $50. So I've got it on my soldering station. That was a little bit more expensive, but you can buy just a standalone hot air tool for probably less than $50 on AliExpress or something, and use paste.
They got those little pin ones now too, where they're only so big hot air deal.
Man, hot air is spectacular. I really love soldering. Really love soldering hot air. Well, and it's and then that set station. Actually, for that matter, I could probably build them in scale. Probably build them in a fixture, and like I've got a hot air machine on my soldering iron, and then I've got all the way in the corner. I've got a rework station.
It's that reflow station.
Yeah, but it's infrared heat, so it's really good. It's really controllable. So you could probably put paste on it. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Throw all your parts in the jig, put paste on it, and throw it on your reflow station, and let it do the work itself.
A lot of people use toaster ovens to do this stuff.
You gotta modify them. You gotta take the thermostat out of them, and
so you can get them as hot and cook them as hot as you can cook them. And then with an in-scale fixture, you could put that in there. I don't know what it would do to the fixture, but
those are aluminum fixtures, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Fast track is.
Yeah, I'm curious if they would take the heat doing that. But otherwise, you could put them all in the fixture, put a little solder paste on it, stick the sucker in the oven, put some cookies in there with it. 5-10 minutes later, you got cookies and a turnout.
I'd be afraid that the aluminum would expand too much and throw off your measurements.
I think it probably would. Maybe it'd cool. Yeah, I'd be worried about that a bit.
How you doing, Andrew?
With soldering iron and or a solder, hot air soldering, you're more point contact that's allowed to dissipate. Your reflow oven is going to heat everything evenly. So
yeah, and maintain a high temperature for a while. Granted, key is how long it would take. So if you had an oven, you put them on broil, basically, and you right up against so if you could slide it in pretty quick, set the flex paste and pull it straight back out, it would probably work. You could probably do it, especially leaving the door open. I think that'd be possible. I'd try if I had one. Let's do it in scale. I'd try it. That'd be the easiest. It'd be a super fast way to make a turnout. Take you 5 or 10 minutes to put the parts together, maybe. Take you 2 minutes in the oven to set all the solder. But hot air is pretty awesome, and especially since they're a lot cheaper. When I looked at it, when I bought my soldering station, and looked at hot air. Those guns were more expensive, or I didn't know where to buy one that was cheap. What I want's a resistance iron. I
Yeah.
really, really, really want a resistance iron. Like if I'd buy it right this second, I'd click order and put my credit card in, or vice versa, right now. If I could find one cheaper. One of the guys I visited in Texas when I was out, when I met Chris Atkins and Speed, that's been in our community recently, and met those fellows. One of the guys out there was building some dual gauge track across the turntable and using a resistance iron setup. And he had $100 or something in the entire setup. He had built his own resistance point iron using a socket that had cut a socket and some washers that basically built a resistance point, and that had either bought a set of clips by itself or built the set of clips, I don't remember, and had bought a fairly inexpensive or quite old used resistance iron. I've been reading some about DIY resistance irons, and I think I could build one. But if you just go out and buy one, you're going to be spending $500. While I want one, it's not worth $500 to me. If I could build one for $100, $150, if I could buy one for $100, $150, I'd buy it right this second.
Andrew said he uses a hot air gun for SMDs.
Only way to go. I could do it with a tipped iron, run the solder across, come back and wick off the extra. There is a process for doing SMDs, especially if you're dealing with single components, resistors or caps or leads or something. You could SMDs. I could do single SMDs just as good with an iron as I can anything else. But if you're doing ICs that have 24 contacts across one side, man, paste and air are your friend. Surface mount device. So you got two types of devices that go on electrical components. You have through-hole devices, and you have surface mounts. Like all the parts you have on circuit boards, for the most part, are SMD devices. It's just a little piece of silicon with whatever electrical componentry in it, and it just sets on top of two solder pads or trace pads, and then you just solder it to those pads. And then if you've got any electrical parts, or if you've put in LEDs or light bulbs in your locomotives or trains, you'll have just resistors with wires hanging out the side. That's the through hole side that goes through the hole on a board, or
solder it from the bottom side.
Yeah, solder it clever.
Unless you're using SMD LEDs for your lighting for your locomotives.
As I am too, using SMDs. Of course, the ones I buy with wires already put on.
Yeah.
I could do it. I could put the wires on them, but why? That's not for the faint of heart. And I use all 04. So far, I use all 0402s. I bought a pack of that come with 0402s, 0603s, 0804s, 1005s, 1206s, a range. It had 4 of each or something. And I have not used a single one of any of the larger sizes. Even in the large warehouse I built, I used multiple 0402s, but even then I had to dim them significantly. They're so bright.
Yeah, those 0402s are pretty bright. This is a red one. And I don't know if I can get it to focus on that. That's an SMD with the wires already on it.
Yeah, okay. That's all 402?
Yep.
Yeah, you got to dim. I'm sure you did dim that significantly because they're bright. But dimming's not easy necessarily either. You really need pulse width modulation to dim them. Of course, if you're flashing it, you've already basically got PWM anyway.
Well, I'm just using one of them freaking holiday Christmas light battery packs for it.
Oh, okay. Man, Arduino, or I've got ESPs that are awesome, but Speed talked me into these little things. Minus this little thing. These are $2 or something. These are they're Wi-Fi, so I can stick one of these in the basement of every house on my layout and control all the lighting of the layout. Or one of these boards goes with it. This is how I control all the servos. So this will control 16 servos. One of these goes with it. Provide it 5 volts of power, 3 volts for this, but 5 volts to the best, and I control 16 turnouts with servos, and you're out $5 or $6 all in. plus the cost of servos. So,
Dwight wants to know, do you have a roundhouse, Andy? And how, if you do, how do you control the stalled tracks?
okay, so I don't currently. On my layout, I opted not to build the yard because I've only got a 15 by 15 room. And even then, I wasn't sure. When I started working on that layout, I was not sure it was worth the trouble to build a layout in that small space. Given what I was trying to do, it turns out that's ended up being a big railroad for me. That for a single person building railroad for 4 years, not as far along as I would love to be. At all. I don't currently have a roundhouse or even a yard other than interchange yard. What I'm doing so far for controlling staging tracks, which I have the same consideration for, and I do the same thing for, is I built, right now, temporarily, I built a control panel hanging off the layout over there. Temporarily, to control staging tracks. I do pull the power from my staging tracks, mostly so I don't have to deal with inrush current. When I turn DCC on, I don't want to, what 5 amps being drawn immediately from all the equipment sitting on the track. But I'm working on it. Part of the reason I've got all my electronics out, breadboard out, and stuff on my table here is I'm working on a design for an override. So I could walk in here with just DCC, flip a few switches, run some trains, and enjoy it. But then I could put it into override, and the Arduino will control the power on, power off state of those tracks and set the route of the turnouts all via JMRI. So my instinct is that you're better to use either something like an aux box, that's a commercial product available that is a DCC accessory that can turn things on or off. You can turn lights on or off, you can turn tracks on or off as a DCC function command, or build it with Arduino if you're savvy with that kind of stuff, or ESP or whatever, some kind of board that JMRI. Oh, and Billy says use a resistor. So there's a problem with people say just use a resistor on an LED to dim it. You can. It technically works. You can totally do that. But it significantly reduces the life expectancy of the LED. So one of the great benefits of an LED is you'll get 10, 20 plus years out of it. But with resistors, you don't get still better than a bulb, but you don't get the same life expectancy. If you want to dim an LED that's meant to have 1.5 volts to it, if you dim it, you're giving it 3/4 of a volt. It's just not going to last as long. What you've got to give it is 1.5 volts all the time. But what you can do is turn it on and off real fast. And that's what pulse width modulation is. Well, I give Woodland Scenics a lot of credit. And all the decoder manufacturers, the high-end decoder manufacturers, ESU, TCS, etc., Tsunami, that lets you control the brightness of the LEDs, they're using pulse width modulation. They're turning it on and off faster than the human eye can detect. And depending on how long you leave it on versus how long you leave it off, in milliseconds a second, it looks dimmer to the human eye. That's how your TV works. That's how our monitors all work. Smartphones work.
It doesn't finish charging up.
Yeah, and even if it can come to full brightness, if you could, because they come to full brightness in 20 milliseconds or something, but it is a rare. But that's why I give Woodland Scenics a lot of credit with their just plug system. I can't use it because, in my case, because I want to independently control every light on my layout, every LED, a house that has 9 lights in it. Every one of those are independently controlled, and they will come on and off, through a cycle. Woodland Scenics doesn't give you that. But if you just want all your lights to come on when you're in night mode, and all of them to go off otherwise, or what have you, Woodland Scenics just plug system does the right thing. It does pulse width modulation. And it's quite affordable if you consider what you're trying to accomplish with pulse width modulation. You can buy little boards that do that, dedicated boards. As is typical, I still think Arduino or something is still better, but there's a learning curve, I'll grant you. So, but I do the same thing for controlling tracks.
The Bob's here.
Yep, as usual, right at closing time. Yeah, we done hit the hour mark, so.
I think the Bob's clock's an hour behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, satisfied.
Alrighty. I actually made it through a full show without any real hiccups here.
Well, all you have to do is order a new computer. You just have to threaten your current computer with being replaced.
No. You ought to see what I've got set up here and how it's all piecemeal together.
But take a whole roll of duct tape or just a few pieces? Did you take a whole roll of duct tape or just a few pieces of duct tape?
About a half a roll.
That's a pretty
Yeah,
good
co-hangers involved.
Yeah, I'm having to use my camcorder for the camera.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
And I thought had the battery on charge today, and obviously not. It didn't charge, so then I had to go dig the power supply out for it. And this tripod is precariously set to where the camera's in between my two monitors.
Oh, I know about precarious tripod.
Yeah.
I've got precarious tripod before.
So I've had to hot wire the camera and wire it back into the capture dongle.
Andy put too much trust into precarious tripods.
Yeah, and then I had a little setup issue at first on the OBS, but I got it cleared up.
If the tripod will stand there long enough for me to slowly back away, I'm fine. It'll stay. Just nobody breathe too hard. Jump up down.
Just don't work on the layout while it's up on the tripods.
Yeah, and I have a lot. And I've got into some kind of questionable situations, but I found a hot shoe mount that gives you basically a table, basically a small work surface that can go on a tripod that you can lock into a hot shoe or into a quarter 20 thread. And I mean to either build a little table surface to go on there. If you had a couple of those, you could set a module on 2 tripods.
Yeah, Michael said don't sneeze or it'll all fall down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had some close calls. I have had to catch it. I've done some things that were reasonably questionable with that. Like, they say you judge things at how much duct tape. Is that a whole roller or is that just a few feet of duct tape problem?
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I guess we'll shut this one down and call it a week. So far, we have nothing scheduled for next week except next Thursday for this show. So, I guess we shall see you next Thursday night.
All right, we'll see you then, Johnny.
So, y'all have a good one, and we'll see you later on. I'll probably still be on this one next week, but after that, I'll have the new one up and running, hopefully. I'm still waiting on a few parts to come in. All right, y'all have a good one. Stay off the tracks.
Especially you, Bob.
Yeah.